Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the Noon News from Montana's news leader.
A very good Wednesday afternoon. Thanks so much for joining us here on the Noon News. I'm Samantha Sullivan. A criminal justice reform bill was overwhelmingly approved by the Senate last night. CBS News correspondent Nicole Killian reports from Washington, where the president is now heralding the bill's passage.
Has been agreed to.
The Senate vote came Tuesday night. In a rare show of bipartisanship, senators voted 87-12 to approve the First Step Act.
It just proves that when people trust each other, you can sit down and get legislation that's good for the country.
It's a dramatic change. I think it reflects the fact that we realize that just getting muscular and tough on the war on drugs isn't enough. We've got to use our brains.
The bill addresses prison overcrowding and creates a fairer system for nonviolent drug offenders. It eases the 3 strikes rule by reducing a mandatory life sentence for some drug offenders to just 25 years. And it improves early release opportunities and expands job training.
President Trump tweeted about the vote Tuesday, writing that he looks forward to signing it into law and that it will keep communities safer while also saving billions of dollars.
The First Step Act gives people a second chance in this country who are eligible for release from prison and re-entry into society, and that's many Americans.
The House is expected to pass the bill later this week, and then President Trump is expected to sign it. Nicole Killian, CBS News, Capitol Hill.
Now, U.S. Senator Steve Daines was one of the 4 votes. He also co-sponsored the bill, named the First Step Act. He said, quote, "Meth use has skyrocketed in Montana. We need to make sure we have every tool available to fight against an epidemic that is tearing families apart and increasing violent crimes in our state." Senator Jon Tester also voting for the bill. He said, quote, "This bipartisan bill takes important common sense steps to fix our criminal justice system and address overly harsh sentencing laws. It is important to note that the law only applies to federal prisoners." Well, President Trump rolled out a ban on bump fire stocks in response to the Las Vegas massacre last year. Anyone who owns a bump stock now has 90 days to turn them into an ATF field office or destroy them by March 21st. The deadliest mass shooting in modern U.S. history was made worse by bump fire stocks. Authorities say the gun accessory was used by the shooter who used his rig and weapons to kill 58 people at that Las Vegas concert. In Helena this afternoon, 2 people are dead after what police say appears to be a murder-suicide. Police responded to reports of a disturbance at a home on the west side of town around 6:30 on Tuesday night. According to a statement from authorities, a birthday party was underway at the home of the female victim when her estranged husband arrived. Authorities say the man was there for a short time before he took out a handgun and ordered everyone out of the home, including the children and other adults there. Investigators say the man then followed the woman into the front yard and shot her before turning the gun on himself. Police are still investigating. The names of the victims have not yet been released. And 1 person is dead after an early morning crash on Interstate 90 in Mineral County. Montana Highway Patrol says 5 semi-trucks were involved in several crashes 10 miles east of Superior, killing 1 person. A 10-mile stretch of both the eastbound and westbound lanes of I-90 were still closed as of 11 o'clock this morning, while law enforcement works to clear the site. The name of the victim has not yet been released, and the crash remains under investigation. Officials do hope to have a completed report sometime later this afternoon. And just days after a longtime Miles City athletic trainer is arrested on child pornography charges, another dozen victims come forward in a massive sex abuse case against the former trainer. An amended complaint states the 12 men say they were also sexually abused by 74-year-old James Jensen while they attended Custer County High School, where Jensen worked as the school's trainer. New evidence obtained in discovery reveals a letter given to Jensen by the school district back in 1997. This letter came after a complaint by 3 male athletes. The letter said Jensen violated policy concerning student interactions and outlined 6 objectives for Jensen to comply with. One says Jensen must refrain in working with students one-on-one. He was also told not to give body rub-downs unless a third person was present to maintain a line of sight. Also in the letter, Jensen is told to cease his mentoring program and that student athletes should no longer be invited to Jensen's home without another adult present. Back in September, a civil lawsuit was filed in Custer County District Court alleging Jensen sexually abused male students at the Miles City High School beginning as far back as the 1970s, lasting until Jensen left the district in 1998. The suit alleges the school district knew of Jensen's abuse and refused to act on it. In response, the Miles City Unified School District launched a lawsuit of its own against Jensen. MTN has reached out to the attorney representing the school district in the case, who said, quote, "We disagree with the facts presented and have been more than complying with discovery." The civil suit now totals 31 plaintiffs. However, lawyer for the victims, John Heenan, says there are still dozens more, some who still have not decided whether or not they would like to join the lawsuit. The judge has set a deadline of late February for more victims to come forward. Despite defense arguments, all evidence in a gruesome Missoula double murder must come forward before trial. Augustus Standing Rock and his accused accomplice Tiffany Pierce allegedly killed a man and woman and then attempted to decompose the victims' bodies in chemicals. Standing Rock changed his plea to guilty just last week. Pierce is scheduled for a jury trial in April. Pierce's defense team tried to prevent the court from admitting evidence from another alleged assault and stabbing that Pierce is accused of committing, but the judge issued an order that the defense must provide all evidence, including those reports and witnesses. In Billings, the developer of a huge West End mansion here in Billings admits to embezzlement and fraud in federal court. 38-year-old Larry Wayne Price Jr. admitted to his crimes Tuesday morning, including defrauding 3 companies of more than $20 million and lying to investigators about a false abduction. Prosecutors say Price used the embezzled money to develop and build the 26,000 square foot mansion on the Billings West End. The listing price for the mansion, $17 million. According to the U.S. Department of Justice, Price embezzled more than $20 million from 3 coal-related companies in Montana and Wyoming. Price first ran into trouble this summer when he was arrested in Virginia and was accused of faking his own abduction in an attempt to flee creditors. Price faces the forfeiture of homes in Montana and Virginia, along with trailers, jewelry, and more. And now we'll turn things over to Ed in the Weather Center. Ed, how are things shaping up out there today? You know, we're going to take a look ahead here, Sammy, as we start looking at the last week of the month. We've been used to these warm and dry conditions, but right now, as we start looking just after Christmas into the first of the year, we're leaning towards cooler than average temperatures across western and southern Montana and most of northern Wyoming. Nationally, all the warm air we've been experiencing wants to move off towards the east. As far as precipitation goes, looking for wetter than average conditions, especially to the central and southern plains, but that will also affect areas of eastern Montana and northern Wyoming with about a 30 to 40% chance of above normal precipitation. A bit of a shift in the weather pattern, but we have more of the warm and dry to go. We'll talk about that coming up. All right, thanks, Ed. Business owners gathered in Bozeman Tuesday to talk about the possibility of a statewide sales tax and the gateway local option tax. State Representative Carrie White is proposing a bill that would add a 2.5% sales tax on goods, including groceries and medicines. A statewide sales tax would eliminate most property taxes in a state where the population is just over 1 million people, but attracted as many as 12 million visitors just last year.
The statewide tax, I think what you're looking at is rather than having a $300 a month property tax bill, that bill goes away. You're paying 2.5% sales tax on goods that are taxed as you go along month to month. And I think he made a valid point. Roughly at a 2% sales tax, if you spend $100,000 a year, that's $2,000 a year. So how many people spend $100,000 in goods on an annual outgoing basis?
The gateway local option tax would allow the counties surrounding national parks to enact a sales tax. Montana, Oregon, New Hampshire, Delaware, and Alaska are the only states without a sales tax. Well, thanks so much for joining us here on the Noon News. Coming up, how to keep your home safe while you're away for the holidays. But first, how will those travel conditions be for the holiday weekend? Ed is in with a full look at the forecast when we come back.
Watching MTN News with Samantha Sullivan, Storm Tracker weather with Ed McIntosh, and Farm and Ranch News from the Northern Ag Network. This is the Noon News on Q2, Montana's news leader.